Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at what might just be one of the most awesome looking Gundam kits of all time. This right here is the Real Grade Sword Impulse Gundam Spec 2, aka it's a nice cool new take on the Sword Impulse Gundam. The Sword Impulse Gundam was always one ridiculously cool Gundam and a massive fan favorite, especially when it comes to Gundam model kits, because it's a kit with two big massive huge swords, and it's a nice spin on the usual Gundam color scheme with red in its chest. Now, Bandai doubled down for the Seed Freedom movie with the red. It's not just red in the chest, the vast majority of this kit is red. It's now got a black torso instead of the red, all of the white is red, and this is a mobile suit right here that Char Aznavour himself would be absolutely drop dead jealous of. And it's a great kit too, because the Real Grade Force Impulse and all of its variants have always been phenomenal. As you can tell from the box right there, this is a premium Bandai exclusive, so if you find it hard to get, don't know where to get one, you can get yours exactly where I got mine, and that is through those fantastic people over at Bandai. Now let's get into the review. Also, I will mention right now on the channel, it is Buildmas, which means I'm trying to build as many kits as possible coming up to Christmas. If I actually stay on track, I might build in the area of maybe 50 kits. So that makes this one right here 6 of 50. So first off, jumping into the build of the Sword Impulse Gundam Spec 2. This is a regular size, I guess, real grade sized box, but it is absolutely packed to capacity. Inside this box is exactly what we would have seen with the real grade Sword Impulse Gundam, the standard version, just now color swapped to this over the top red color scheme. The manual actually reflects this, which I think is pretty cool. They did color it red as opposed to just leaving it straight all white, which sometimes they do with color variants. Same around back, but when it comes to the kind of nice pictures and information that's usually inside of the manual, that is not there. There's also this little section right here which does tell us that there are some parts in here that are duplicated. So you do have two C2 runners, two other runners in here, and you have to select certain parts off certain ones, which is common enough when it does come to variant kits. So you just have to cut off the bits you don't need from the runner first before you get started, so you don't get confused. I did end up getting confused. Basically, I put the wrong color handles on the swords, but I switched them back later. Overall, the build of this kit is ridiculously impressive. Just like you'd expect from a real grade kit, this is one that does come in the kind of middle era where there's still an MS joint in here, but it's mainly just for inside the chest, as well as the core flyer kind of majigger. Besides that though, this builds up with a full beautiful inner frame, great detailing. You do add some of the silver stickers onto the frame while building it up, but there is a big sheet of decals in here as well for decaling up the exterior of the armor. Every element about this, the legs, the waist, the torso, the arms, backpack, all of that is so expertly done. Everything is absolutely beautiful, and for the most part it is easy to put together. The only things that was kind of on the small side is some parts in the head and a couple of bits in the knees, but otherwise absolutely phenomenal. And at this point I think this might be my 6th Force Impulse real grade build. I've built the Force Impulse Spec 2, Sword Impulse, Blast Impulse, Destiny Impulse, and now this. I can never get tired of the build. It's such a beautiful one. I still have the Blast Impulse Spec 2 to build as well, and still looking forward to that one. The only thing that is a little bit on the funny side when it comes to the build of the Force Impulse Gundam is the head. When it is finished, it's absolutely beautiful, but when you're putting it together, there's some funny aspects, especially around the muzzle and the under eye area. They kind of don't fit together as well as Gunpla usually does, but when you do actually finish off the kit, it's something that isn't really noticeable. We've got a ton of weapons in here to build as well, and I did take a skip on some of them because I'm only building what I'm going to be displaying, so I don't need all of the stuff that came with the Force Impulse Gundam. But anyway, right on into the aesthetics. So jumping on into the aesthetics now, and finally there we go. There is the real grade Sword Impulse Gundam Spec 2 in all of its glory. And I don't know if I've ever seen a more awesome Gundam design when it comes to the colors. You do see some red Gundams here and there, like the red Gundam right here from Gundam G-Quacks, but this, even though it is an absolutely beautiful kit, does require a lot of work out of box. When it comes to this kit right here, all I did was panelline the face and stick on 2 stickers on the shoulder. This required quite a bit of detailing up and painting, and it's more of a pink Gundam than a red Gundam. Now this is a real red Gundam. Also, I am going to mention it right here while I still have the action base attached on. The action base adapter on this kit is one of the things that gives me a mild bit of disappointment about it. And that is because, one, it is absolutely huge like so, which, you know, it's not the worst. But the biggest issue is the fact that this does only fit onto an action base like so. Sure, you could stick something into the 3mm bit on the side here, but that bottom bit does limit what you can attach it to. Actually, I'm going to try sticking a stand in that hole and see how it turns out. Yeah, it does work. You can definitely display it like that, but you're kind of always going to be rocking a stand that's kind of slightly backwards. And by slightly backwards, I mean straight up completely backwards. But anyway, I digress. That right there is what the real grade Sword Impulse Spec 2 looks like out of box, popped together with a little bit of paneling on the face and some stickers on the shoulders. Otherwise, zero extra work done, and for the most part, I just single snipped it off the runner because I'm trying to speed build as many kits as possible. As you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. Zooming in on the head, it's extremely nice. Like I said, there is some issues with the kind of placement of parts while building it, but you don't see them when it is complete. It still looks fantastic, beautiful, angry visage that catches the light perfectly. Looks great. Moving down to the torso, and this looks so good, it makes me wonder why Bandai doesn't use black more in their model kits like this. It just really works so well, especially with the non-white color on the main armor segments. It just looks really cool. Great color separation on the V in the chest, around back, and this is one of my all-time favorite Seed backpacks. There's a lot of beautiful Seed backpacks out there, but this one's just so simple. It's a big giant V, kind of reminds me of Mazinger in a little bit of a way, which I don't hate, but overall a very cool backpack. When it comes to the skirting armor, again, the color separation is very nice, and these are just simple. These are 3 pieces only, the red, the gray, and the white, but they've just layered up so perfectly. Around back, again, great detail, a bit of pen lining, and this will look off the charts awesome. And finally, the legs on the Force Impulse. They might be some of the nicest Gundam legs out there. The curvature is phenomenal. I will mention there is 2 shades of red on here. Not really sure how much it will pop up in the video, but you can see in the upper thigh, it's split into 2. Down at the very lower leg, it's split into 2, and on the armor at the ankle, it's split into the 2 shades. A lighter kind of washed out red and a very vivid, vibrant red. Overall, beautiful kit, and this, I don't know, there's not many kits that look this cool. If you're looking for a red Gundam, this is the one to go for. Anyway, there's that full 360-degree spin, so you can see every piece of every angle of this kit for yourself. Again, it is a showstopper, definitely. It's absolutely ketchup red, looks amazing, and red always really does suit a Gundam. A lot of the time, it's kept for antagonist suits, which is a little bit disappointing because it just looks so good here. Overall, we've got the exact same phenomenal Force Impulse Gundam base, just with some new colors and the Sword Impulse weapons. Again, so impressive. If you've never built yourself a real grade Force Impulse Gundam, I highly recommend that you do. Next up now is the size comparison, and there it is beside the standard size Gundam right there on the right. That's the real grade RX 78-2, so you can see it's about the same height, just a little bit on the leaner side. And on the left hand side there is the real grade Force Impulse Gundam. As far as I know, that is the Spec 2, so that is basically the exact same Gundam, just with a different backpack, because the silhouette packs that attach onto the back change the color of the Gundam. I'm definitely digging the red, and it's really making me want to reach right on into that Blast Impulse box to see the green variant. Moving through some random kits, there's one of the high-grade daggers, if I'm not mistaken. That's one dusty boy. Beside the high-grade Mighty Strike Freedom, high-grade Gundam Barbatos, high-grade Gundam EX, and beside the kits I've built for Buildmas so far, so there's the 30-minute missions Iglite, high-grade Messer, high-grade Varguil Gundam Head, the Master-grade God Gundam, and the high-grade Delta Zane. So jump now into the accessories, and there's the real grade Sword Impulse Gundam Spec 2 with not everything that it comes with, believe it or not. That is an absolute huge amount of stuff, but that is not everything that comes in the box, because I did not build what came with the Force Impulse Gundam, just what I plan to display with this kit. So what is in here is this right here, the Sword Silhouette Pack. We've got those absolutely massive swords with beam effects for using with them. These right here are for using with the backpack because there are beam boomerangs in there. We've got an absolute huge amount of hands, that is 5, not including the 2 that are attached, which is a pair of widespread hands, so that is 7 in total. Smaller beam boomerang effects, a base adapter, and this right here, which was a little bit of a shock to me. This railgun right here was expected to come with the real grade Spec 2, but it came with, I guess, this kit as well as a sold separately option set. This is the option set in question, the option part set Gunpla 15 Cavalier Afrid, that comes with the exact same version of this right here. So this is the railgun that came with the Cavalier Afrid. This is the one that came with the real grade Sword Impulse Gundam, and I just realized they're not the same. The one in this option set has a sticker for the lens. That's not cool. The one that comes with the real grade has actual color separation up there, so I thought they're the same. They're not. This one is much nicer. Weird that it didn't come with the regular Spec 2. But yeah, like I mentioned, even though there's an absolute huge amount of stuff right here, this is not all that comes with the real grade Sword Impulse Gundam. We also have the shield, beam rifle, and the little switchblades that came with the Force Impulse. It's just I didn't build them because I'm not going to be displaying them with this kit. So if you do want to see more about those particular accessories right there, you can see all of that in the Force Impulse Gundam real grade review. All of that stuff's there. It's exactly the same. There might be a bit of color variation in this kit, but it's all the same awesome equipment. Also worth mentioning, because there is a duplicate of the Sea Runners in here, you do get 2 pilot figures instead of one in red, one in white. So that's pretty cool. So today I won't be taking a look at every single thing that came with this particular kit right here. I'm just going to be loading it up with what I plan to display it with permanently. Now over here I'm going to inject the old Force Impulse Spec 2 because that is where the final home of the railgun is going to be. I'm not going to try it out with this kit. I'm going to try it out with the Force Impulse because it kind of seems funny to me to put a railgun with a sword impulse. It needs its swords. So first up is the backpack. So this is the sword silhouette. Absolutely beautiful. A lot of moving parts. These are on ball joints for where you're going to be storing those huge swords when they're not in use. This also has a lot of movement. These are the beam boomerangs. So if you want to use them as such, you just pop them off like so, and then pop whatever boomerang beam you want onto it. And then it can be held in the hand via this little section right here. But I'm just going to be using it as a backpack for today. On top of the nice movement we just saw, this can swing up like so. So if you want it to be kind of more like a striker pack with wings spread outwards, you can do that too. Also, it does attach onto the silhouette flyer, which is also included in this kit, which I didn't show in the lineup, but again, in the full review. This is a silhouette pack, so it attaches with 2 little aspects. So these little sticky outy bits right here, they just stick either side of that core flyer in there, just like that, and that is one beautiful backpack. You'd think too much red, because this is red on the standard version, would kill the kit with like too much red, but I love it. That is a lot of nice red, just needs a little bit of pen lining up. Next up, we've got the massive and awesome Excalibur anti-ship laser swords. We do have a sticker for Excalibur. I had to use it because it just looks so cool. These can be attached end to end like so. The mistake I actually made with putting these together is there is grey handles included, but the red really does just look cool. The red, black and white is an awesome combination. The hands are your usual sandwich style, so you just pop them apart like so. These do have a little tab in the handle, which is very, very handy for when you're actually attaching on the weapon, so they don't slide around and you know you've got them locked in. Also, it keeps them from moving all over the place when you're, well, throwing the other half of the hand on. There we go, perfect grip. Swapping out hands is the usual routine. You just pop off the one you don't want, then pop in the one you do, just like that. And I'm only going to be displaying one being held, so when these are not in use, you're actually able to pop them. Well, those are on completely upside down. There we go, that's more like it. So when these aren't in use, you can just pop them right on in there for storage around on the back with lots of very nice and strong articulation. Alright, so I'm going to be going for a bit of a pose, something like that right there. I'll try and get it a little bit more dynamic in a bit. And I'm going to just give this guy something he's meant to have for a long, long time, and that is the included railgun. So this right here is what the railgun looks like. Like I said, it's not the same as in the options set. This is a much nicer version. We do have this pop-out little segment right here. There is an included adapter right here if you do want to attach this onto the butt flap, so we might as well do that just for a bit of a look. However, I'm going to be donating it right here to the full release version of the Force Impulse Spec 2, which is the just standard version. It is a little bit sad that he didn't come with one, considering it is the full release version, and it seems like the only place to actually get one is in the premium Bandai version. I think the Blast Impulse Gundam comes with them, but I'm not necessarily sure. Don't quote me on that particular point, but as far as I've seen, it does come with it. There we go. It holds onto the standard rifle holding hand like so, and then attaching it on in the usual kind of way, so just ball joint attachment, and there we go. Finally, that is a nice rifle. Good, big, over the top and huge, and looks great in the hand of the real grade Force Impulse Spec 2. So last up, talking about the articulation, the usual comment on the build right here. This is rock solid mini master grade style build, and nothing is ever going to fall off this kit. I have a whole bunch of them, and every time I post them, it's always a happy scenario, like what's about to happen right now. So the usual pose. I'm just going to do this in real time and kind of comment through it. We've got some dropping hips that really drop down in here, so you can get that leg up nice and high. So it can get down nice and low like that. Move the side skirt up out of the way so this leg can go out. As you can see, it kind of comes from a funny place now when you've dropped the hips down. So there is that kind of element. You can always drop them or seat him in a little bit further there to make sure it doesn't look like that if you don't like it. Nice articulation at the shoulder, which allows them to pop up like so. Great bend at the elbow. You can bring the arm forward, bringing that round. There's not much in the lines of an ab crunch in this kit. Probably its biggest letdown. That is because it is kind of a docking point for this little kind of flyer back here, so it does limit that. But what you do get in the body and the legs definitely does counteract that. So that's what we get in the end out of that pose. Some limitations, mainly at the abs, bring it down. But besides that, some great movement all the way around. As usual, this is a color variant kit right here. So if you do want to see the full articulation on this kit, I'm not sure if I would have done in the Sword Impulse Gundam review. Probably not. But the real grade Force Impulse will have all the information you ever want, because this kit right here is the exact same kit, just now a beautiful shade of red. Anyway, so that right there is it for the review, and this is X Platinum tier. So that's kind of funny because on the old grading system, the standard and the Spec 2 of the Force Impulse Real Grade were Platinum tier 2, but now we've got that little bit of a chart as to what aspect got what points. When it comes to aesthetics, I gave this 4 out of 5, which is absolutely phenomenal. For me, I feel it isn't the full 5 out of 5 for a real grade kit, but it is still beautiful. I wanted to bump it up to 5 out of 5 just because of the red color makes it look so intensely cool, which it does look cool, and it is gorgeous. I just feel when it does come to real grade, there are some that push the envelope a little bit more in the looks department. When it comes to the articulation, yet again, absolutely fantastic. The only thing that really lets it down is the articulation in the torso. It is quite limited because of what's going on in there, but when it comes to the arms, neck, legs, waist, you've got so many moving joints that all move perfectly. You do have the dropping hips, which do sort of make up for the ab crunch, but it can look a little bit awkward sometimes in some poses. Full 5 out of 5 for the accessories here. Man, does this thing come with an absolute armory. Comes with everything the Force Impulse came with, and it comes with everything the Sword Impulse came with as well, which is so much stuff. Tons of options, and everything in here is top quality. It's so fun. If you want to keep changing out weapons and weapons and weapons, different loadouts with your kit, this is one for you. You've even got the silhouette flyer for attaching onto the backpack to display it separate from the actual Gundam. Intense. Build-wise, this is an absolutely phenomenal build. I love it. I've built it again and again and again, and the only thing that can be a little bit on the irksome side sometimes is the forearms. The forearms have multiple joints in them, which are rotating joints on pegs, so it does mean they can kind of slip off at times, especially the main one with a kind of rounded top. Besides that, it's rock solid. You might lose a piece here and there like a skirting, but the forearms are what bring it down a little bit, but still, great build, fantastic still in 2025. Anyway, that is it for the review. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you want one of your own, I got mine through Buy. You'll find one on there most definitely. Make sure to come back again tomorrow for another Gundam review, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video right here and every single video I make would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches this video, and special thanks at the end of this video right here to those who support on the channel memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Caleb Engelhart, Joe, OG59061, Scotty Thomas, and Simon.